All right, good evening, folks. Welcome to uh, what is it? Monday Night Law on Kirk's Law Corner. It is Monday, right? All day, unfortunately. A new day, right? Sorry to keep you waiting, folks, but powers that be. I see a lot of people already in YouTube chatting away. Good to see you all in there, Jacqueline, Mark, a few other people in there. See who all's on Facebook tonight. Let's see. Okay, Diesel D's, there you are from Chicago. Hey, how's the weather out there? You guys getting rained on? Thunderstorms? Hi, Paula. Ah, Julie. Thanks, Mark. I'm just a fiction. I'm a figment of somebody's imagination. Brother Rob, how are you? Hardly any rain? Who the heck's getting rain out there? East Coast getting rain. Thunderstorms on. I thought I saw that in the weather there. All I know is it's hot and smoky as crap out here in Idaho. It actually kind of cleared out a little bit, almost like completely cleared out. It was like a clear day there for a day. Then it slowly rolled back in, and now it's like really smoky out there again. A lot of fires. Main ones over there in Oregon right now. So Maine, okay, Maine's getting some weather. Wonder where Cece is from Alaska and Amber. Where are you at? Thunderstorms in North Carolina, New Jersey, same thing. Hazy, hot. Yep, right. Yeah, oddly enough, Mark, I seen a thing here. I don't know. It was probably 5 or 6 years ago. A little map of past fires and the areas that it had burned. And oddly enough, keep getting fires in all these other areas. They're not, lightning's not striking the same place twice. It's like they're selecting where to start these fires. So, I mean, I know kind of like devil's advocate there is like, well, yeah, but that area already burned. Well, there's still things in there that could catch on fire from lightning strikes and that kind of stuff. Not everything gets burned in every area. I mean, sometimes, but just weird. Yeah, no lightning. Hmm. Like you're up north, right, Mark? North of me here in Idaho. What is it? What's going on in Minnesota? What's the weather like over there? Ah, there's one. Harp. Many people have Hey Rex, there, how you doing, bro? Good. So I'm gonna dig into that latter part of the petition stuff that I covered last Monday. There's Amber. I I would say that they're Paula out here on Facebook. I would say that they're definitely manipulating the weather and probably starting the fires. They have been for a long time. Damn. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Probably doesn't really matter. My actual scene. There we go. It's all about the same. Trump talked about what? Trump's been saying some pretty good stuff out there, you know. What about that? The Green New Deal or Green New whatever stuff. He called it bullpucky, bullshift into first gear. Pretty pretty odd to hear Trump use that kind of language, but uh oh, okay. Yeah, I need to I'm going to watch that in full. Uh I know Tony, I think you sent me a link to that and I was just too tired last night and have not had a chance to get to anything today other than what I had going on at the office today. So um I caught a couple of different clips from Trump's speech there. The turning point was that was in was that in Arizona? Is that where that was at? How many of y'all caught that or have watched the whole thing? I have yet to watch the whole thing, but I'd like to go see it. So, anywho's Arizona. Okay, yeah, yeah. So it was in Arizona. Yeah, Trump at turning point. It's I just like the like three different little clips that somebody had made. I was like, holy crap, Trump's laying some stuff out. He's putting some things out there. And I know that, you know, on one hand, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, especially in the watching my P's and Q's here in the medical realm of things. Um, right? There's a good one. The Mike Lindell, Mr. Pillow Guy, said he'd pay $5 million to anyone that can prove his, you know, the FRRUD there was wrong. That his evidence is wrong. I just wish these guys would actually send it over to the Office of Attorney General, file a criminal complaint, AO Form 91. You have that evidence. File the criminal complaint and submit the evidence. How hard is that? And yes, there seems to be a lot of arrests going on, and this is part of the panic that's going on out there. Of course, they knew this was coming, and this is part of the reason why we're going through what we're going through. Is we have two different things going on at the same time. One is a cover up, trying to stop things and tear things down and cause dissension and division and distractions. And, like Chris used to call it, weapons of mass distraction. Look at this over here. Look at this over there. Look at that over there. You know, don't look at this right here that's in front of you. It's kind of the way it's always been. Weapons of mass distraction, right? Ooh, shiny. Look at this over there. It's their game, their ploy. So, hey Scott, how you doing, brother? Yeah, it's uh there's just, again, I try to explain that there's two different things going on at the same time. And really what it boils down to is the takedown, the tear down of what's been unlawfully created. And this can take some time, right? But in the meantime, as that's being dismantled and taken down, they're trying to stop it. They're trying to, you know, hold on to this power that they've had for so long. Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Good to hear it. Glad you're here too. They've just had this power for so long, and now it's come to an end. It's a halt. And I don't know how many people have seen the here recently. I think it was June 30th. Um, London has officially been taken down. So pretty much aware that the Vatican has already been taken down. London's officially been taken down. And we have all been witnessing the takedown of DC. Why do you think they had 3 layers of fences up there right before the transition? Okay. The alleged transition. Huh. How is that? Why is that? Oh, well, the military was brought in to protect them. Come on. Kind of touched on this a little before. Um, and EB over here behind the scenes said, you helped me out with that when we put that out, talking about the GC, which was the Geneva Convention, and then the laws of war, which didn't really get to too much of. But the fact is that that ties in to what actually happened at DC, why the military was in there before essentially Trump left office, right? Before the alleged smooth transition. Uh, Problem is there's been no transition. The only real transition we're going through is getting rid of the de facto and going back to the de jure. And some people don't like the fact that we're going back to 1776. Actually, this might be quite interesting because this kind of starts backing up some of the things that I was saying like over 3 years ago. I was talking about when Trump was laying this stuff down, when Trump went to England and he came out and said, "Hey, we're going back to the common law." I'm like, "What? Did you all hear that? Remember that?" Huh. Well, I've got something here from the state of Washington, not Washington D.C. This is the state of Washington. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Because oh, you little bastards. Oh no, it's there. All right. Can be a little bit of trickery shenanigans here. Hold your couple of clicks here and there. Da, 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 da. I'll have this back up. Okay. Hmm. All right. This is from Pierce County Sheriff's Department. Okay. State of Washington. Many of you are aware the Washington State Legislature recently enacted multiple bills with the intention of reforming law enforcement throughout the state of Washington. Over the course of the 2021 legislative session, these bills were drafted, testified, debated by our elected senators and representatives, and ultimately voted upon with a passing majority. Many of these new laws go into effect this Sunday, July 25th, and will have an impact on our operations. Now, this is yesterday. So, as of yesterday, this is the new law in Washington. And it's really not new. It's more of a back to the real law, as we can see here. Watch. Although this new law restricts a number of police tactics, including the use of tear gas, defensive tactics, and equipment. Now let's reread that again. Although this new law restricts a number of police tactics, including the use of tear gas, defensive tactics, and equipment. The largest impact for our residents will be the changes to our ability to pursue after a suspect who was fleeing in a vehicle. Law enforcement officers will only be able to engage in a pursuit if there is probable cause to arrest a person in the vehicle for committing a specified violent crime or sex offense, such as murder, kidnapping, drive-by shooting, or rape. Now, those things right there actually are from the common law. Those are real common law crimes. Murder, rape, kidnapping, a drive-by shooting, whether you call it drive-by shooting or not. It's an attempted murder. So this does not include property crimes such as residential burglary, theft, possession of a stolen vehicle, or the most common domestic violence incidents, including domestic violence, simple assault, violation of a no contact or protection order, and stalking. Why? Why is that? Well, I'll give the simple answer, and I'll just cite the law. From the law of nature, fundamentally and principally, we have the right to defend our life, our liberty, and our pursuit of happiness. We have the right to defend against what may cause harm to us. Hey, Michael, how you doing, brother? Long time no see. So think about that for just a couple minutes. Take as long as you need there. They can only make arrests. But they say, oh, to arrest a person in a vehicle for. No. Really what it is they can't make any arrests unless it's for murder, kidnapping, rape, residential burglary. Well, if somebody is breaking into your home, you have the right to defend yourself. Now, this is where, again, disclaimer here, I do not advocate for violence, but when you have to defend yourself, you have the right to defend your life, your liberty, and your pursuit of happiness, how you see fit, whatever it takes. Okay? What's up, Doug? Good to see you, brother. Somebody's breaking into your home. Don't you have the right to defend yourself? Yes. Yes, most certainly we do. I'm going to go back to the way it used to be back in the olden days. Was the sheriff was the one that got called for the ones that got away, and the coroner was for the ones that didn't. I honestly think we need to get back to those kinds of times, because who's better equipped to defend your home than you? I mean, even in the technology era that we're in and the speed of making a phone call, and as fast as these automobiles and motor vehicles are out there that they use, in an instance, you could lose your life from a residential burglary or theft, or someone who's in the middle of stealing your car. Okay. How long is it going to take? And it's okay. Again, how long is it going to take for them to get there? And then why is it that we're calling a man with a gun when why can't we just do that ourselves? I mean, where's the logic and reason in that? I mean, why wouldn't you take the time to call somebody to come save you with a gun when you could just do it yourself? Good, good, Paula. Saw a ton of changes in the USMC came into effect yesterday. Yeah, there's a good one, Dorothy. God help you if you slandered someone. That's right. Jacqueline. Logic. What politician has that? I don't know. So let's continue on reading this because this gets better. But I mean, how much better can it be right here? Now, I get this might be a little bit of a concern for some people about the whole domestic violence, but look what it says, including domestic violence, simple assault. Well, wait a minute. I've discovered Article 4, Section 4 talks about domestic violence, but that's internal insurrection, an attempt to overthrow the Constitution, war against the people. Um, that's not the same as what they're saying here. So that whole Violence Against Women Act is nothing but using women and children as a human shield, when the real crime is called battery. That falls under breaches of the peace, assault and battery. So, what does it say here? Law enforcement can no longer pursue after vehicles for any traffic offenses, with the exception of vehicular assault, vehicular homicide, and driving under the influence. Of note, Probable cause is a high standard of having enough facts, information, and or evidence for a reasonable officer to believe that a person is more likely than not to have committed a crime. See the crimes listed above. Violent crimes, because that's the only real crimes where there's actual damages. You have to be able to prove the damages. Look at, I got all these bruises. I got cut. Oh, I had to go to the hospital. Got a broken arm, broken leg, cracked open skull, head, whatever. That's evidence. Got to have all of that. To best illustrate this new restriction, please consider the following scenario. Your family returns from a vacation to find a truck parked in your driveway of your home, and a person you do not know is loading stolen items from your house into the vehicle. You call 911 and provide the dispatcher with a description of the suspect's truck as it drives out of your neighborhood with your belongings inside. A police officer responding to your call for help sees a truck resembling the description speeding out of your neighborhood. Prior to July 25th, the officer could attempt a traffic stop to determine whether the person was involved in the burglary, and if the vehicle fled, the officer could pursue after it. After July 25th, the officer can still attempt to stop the vehicle, but cannot pursue after the fleeing vehicle for any law enforcement purposes actions if the driver does not stop. This applies to all law enforcement agencies throughout the state. So what does that tell you? That means you should hop in your own rig and you should follow them to where they go. And you can figure out what to do from there. Because who are they going to call? They sure in the hell ain't going to call the cops. That's right, folks. You picking up what I'm laying down here? The real law. Another significant change is with the new use of force law, which limits police interaction with non-compliant members of the public. Under the new law, police officers are required to have probable cause before using physical force. Well, duh. The common law already requires that to detain someone, as opposed to the previous standard of reasonable suspicion. Yeah, got to have a cause of action. Physical force can also be used by officers to prevent an escape or to protect against an imminent threat of bodily injury to the officer, another person, or the person against whom force is being used. Flip that around. That's just not for law enforcement officers, because we cannot delegate a power we do not possess ourselves first. So, maxim of law, what I cannot do in my person, I cannot do through the agency of another. All right. So, read between the lines here, folks. That you can protect yourself against any threat of bodily injury or to anyone else, or against the one who's using force against you. In some situations, this means that we must let potential suspects walk away from a crime scene until we have developed a high standard of having enough facts, information, and or evidence for a reasonable officer to believe that a person is more likely than not to have committed a crime. Well, duh. Should be common sense. The new law also requires officers to, when possible, exhaust available and appropriate de-escalation tactics prior to using any physical force, and to leave the area when no crime has been committed and there is no imminent threat of harm to the involved person or someone else. This will significantly change how police respond to mental health crisis calls throughout the state. Just had to throw that one in there. No, what this does is it significantly changes the amount of human trafficking they can be actively engaged in. This is putting the limitations back on government like it's supposed to be, as it is written in the Fourth Amendment. Oh, but following the person reports hearing screaming and loud noises from an apartment next door. The caller reports that it sounds like the woman next door is being assaulted. No, that would be battered by her boyfriend, but is only able to provide a vague description of what the boyfriend looks like and does not know his name. As the first responding officer approaches the apartment, he sees a man running through the parking lot wearing clothing similar to the description provided in the 911 call. Prior to July 25th, the officer could use physical force if necessary to detain the man based on reasonable suspicion that he's fleeing the domestic violence. No, not domestic violence. It's assault and battery incident and had indeed committed a crime. After July 25th, the officer cannot use any type of physical force to detain the suspect until probable cause has been established. This means that the officers must let the man walk away from the scene until they can interview the victim and or witness to determine with a high level of certainty that a crime has occurred and the person is a suspect in that crime. Well, yeah. What does it matter? Whether it's right there on the spot or later down the road. But here's the thing. Why aren't you, as the neighbor, going over there and beating on the door and finding out what the hell's going on next door? Because you have the right to come to the aid of your fellow man. I mean, that's kind of what it says up there earlier, right? Or to someone else, right? But we already know that. Of note, the term physical force was not defined in the new law. Currently, what constitutes physical force is viewed in a large variety of ways depending on each police department's policy. This can range from holding someone's arm, placing someone in handcuffs, pulling someone from a vehicle, grabbing someone during a foot pursuit. Yeah, physical force means any physical touching at all. Any attempt to stop a man, deprive a man of his liberty, is using force. Physical force meaning actually putting your hands on the man. You can't do that. That's not how we are supposed to be in a settled on the law, civilized, following due process of law without the use of force and violence society. Not supposed to do that. The preferred method is a summons and a complaint. Follow due process of law. What's wrong with that? Anybody got a problem with following due process of law? Okay. These scenarios are not intended to depict all possible variables or outcomes. There are many variables in real world emergencies that might impact what actions can be taken by officers or how these laws may be applied. Crime in Washington would also, come on, like to share with you some important information from a report that was released last week by the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs regarding crime and policing in our state. Washington State currently ranks last in the entire nation for the number of police officers per capita at 1.19 sworn officers per 1,000 residents. Nationwide, the rate of sworn officers 2.4 per 1,000. The Pierce County Sheriff's Department is responsible for serving and protecting the second largest population in the state behind the city of Seattle. We do so with only 0.64 deputies per 1,000. Also of note, according to the report last year, Washington State there were 302 murders in 2020, an increase of 46% over the previous year. So what the hell's going on there, huh? How did you have a 46% increase? Huh. Oh, and then 82.4% increase in comparison. Okay. I want to look into what's really going on there. And why aren't people being encouraged to defend themselves? So they're changing. Washington's changing. Apparently, Washington's leading the example here. But let's see. Where is so I just pulled up the treatise on arrest and false imprisonment just to, kind of. I was going to go into the petition stuff, and I still might after this, but I think with this right here, we need to really reflect. The law of the land. The authority to arrest without warrant was rather limited and well defined at common law. A law which has been made part of our constitutional law in the due process provisions. The common law rule on arrest is based on, ready for this? Common sense. This is the common sense law, the stuff that's supposed to be self evident that the Declaration of Independence talks about. As a general rule at common law, an arrest could not be made without a warrant. Thus, the right to arrest a person without a warrant is an exception to the general rule. This simple rule was expressed by Justice Carpenter in delivering an opinion for the Supreme Court of Michigan as follows. The law governing this case is elementary, except for a breach of the peace committed in his presence, or when he has a reasonable ground to believe that the person arrested is a felon or is about to commit a felony. A police officer has no authority to arrest without a warrant. That's just a reiteration of the common law. It's elementary. This is fundamental. Common sense law. The objective in this law was to have a balance between preserving liberty and preserving the peace. Those who committed the most heinous crimes, that being felonies, were a threat to the safety of society and could be summarily deprived of their liberty by arrest. Those committing a breach of the peace could also be summarily arrested, not for apprehension as a criminal, but to preserve the peace. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. It's supposed to be just all right, you guys, break it up, break it up. That's an arrest. Stop. An arrest is not put handcuffs on a man, throw him in the back of a car, and take him to jail. That's called kidnapping, excessive force, unlawful arrest, false imprisonment, or kidnapping. That's what the law calls that. So, let's see. But for their other offenses, summary arrest had to yield to the liberty of the citizen. The liberty of the citizen is too sacred to be left to the arbitrary will of men. Now, with what we just read through right there, New Washington's law here. But this is what I'm saying. This is already the law. The real law, the common law is the real law. This stuff is already laid down long before we instituted government. We instituted government to secure this law. So, what are they saying right there? The same thing that I just read from. Hey, we can't use force, physical force, against these people. We can't chase them down. You have to follow due process of law. Everyone knows what felonies are. The most common felonies are murder, rape, kidnapping, sodomy, abortion, treason, and arson. That's right. Because from the common law, abortion is considered murder. Y'all see that? Those are felonies from the common law. A breach of the peace is obvious and well known. Therefore, everyone's liberty was safe, since all knew for what they could and could not be arrested. But where is the safety in one's liberty if they are to be subject to every ordinance or law that the legislative bodies may choose to enact, or if the law on arrest can be changed by statutes? Uh-oh. That goes back to the Law of Nations, written by Emer D. Vattel, the Law of Nations, Book 1, Chapter 3, Section 34. That the fundamental law and the Constitution are off limits to the legislature. They have no authority to alter the fundamental law. Bingo. See how far back that applies? And it's a capital offense to do such a thing. All right. By the Due Process Clause, the common law governs what the law on arrest is in this land. And where it exists, the most statutes can be is declaratory of the common law. They cannot alter it. That's right. Let's reread that. By the Due Process Clause, the common law governs what the law on arrest is in this land, and where it exists, the most statutes can be is declaratory of the common law. If there is no direct language in the Constitution directing what procedure or process is to be followed, the common law is to be the due process of law followed, not a legislative statute or city ordinance. Officers who do not abide by this law are trespassers and are guilty of false imprisonment. Now, do you all see why it's important to read this treatise on arrest and false imprisonment? Right there to kirkslawcorner.com. Go into the library and download and read. Print this sucker out and carry it with you. Read from it until you get it. Till you get this stuff into your head and you have it off the top of your head. Show it to these officers out there. Especially that right there. The common law governs what the law on arrest is in this land. And the only thing that the legislature can make regarding due process of law would just be merely declaratory of the common law. They cannot alter it. And to try and follow a statute or city ordinance, wrong. Because you're supposed to be bound by the constitutions. not statutes or codes or ordinances. Notice it doesn't say code there. It says statute or city ordinance, because the legislature doesn't make code. That's the bar that makes the code. That's the bar code. That's their body of law, their jurisdiction that they practice, which is why they say you have to be licensed as a member of the bar to practice that law, because it's their shit made up. And it doesn't belong in our republic at all. So isn't that a crime? False imprisonment? Officers who do not abide by this law are trespassers. What? And are guilty of false imprisonment. So this is where I keep talking about a common law trespass, because those are our unalienable rights. You cannot place a lien upon that right because it's our property. Again, aggregate of guaranteed rights. And yes, that's in many different law dictionaries under the definition, under the word of property, an aggregate of guaranteed rights. It's almost like I've read it somewhere before. Maybe because I have. Because reading means reading, and I've done an awful lot of it. The following is some material to help the citizen in protecting his liberty from unlawful encroachment by executive officers. First, to initiate a suit against one who unlawfully deprives you of your liberty, there is an example of a summons and a complaint, which need to be served upon the defendant and the court. There is also a memorandum of law on the subject of arrest without warrant, which is legal proof of the law that has existed for hundreds of years on this matter. That's all right in this book. Ready? Oh, look at that. Here's your document template for a summons, for a complaint. There's some statements of facts. Here's some counts. Some of you been through some criminal proceedings might recognize this format, except for look at what's being cited. The Constitution is what is being cited as the law. I don't see any code here. There's no code. In fact, there's not even any statutes here. That's because Article 1, Bills of Rights, that's right. That's the law. That's the real law being laid down prior to creating the Constitution. They're tricking us with, oh, well, that's in the Constitution, Article 1, Section 7 of the Minnesota Constitution. No, that's a Declaration of Rights. It's actually the law being laid down. Why does it come first? And in history, Bills of Rights and Declarations of Rights have always been separate from the Constitution, so as not to deceive the people. The people would know that that's the law being laid down, because law is that which is laid down, ordained, or established. Right? Yeah, that's right. Enactments of the legislature are not law. Not the kind of law that we're talking about. Rights are the law. And again, just to go back to what it was just saying there in the Treatise on Arrest and False Imprisonment here, American Jurisprudence, Volume 16, Constitutional Law, Section 100, that Bills of Rights and those merely declaratory of the common law. Again, the best that the legislature can do is reiterate the common law. They can't alter it. Not even by a declaration. But here's your document template. right here in the book. Oh, look at that. Here's a memorandum of law on arrest without a warrant. Right in the book. Document templates. Right out of the book. I mean, this whole book is nothing, pretty much nothing but a document template. I mean, this starts on page 12, or no, it was page 11 with the summons. Oh, pardon me, page 10. Page 10 with the summons. Page 11 with the complaint. Page 12. Yep, 11 and 12. And then page 13 goes right into the memorandum of law on arrest without a warrant. This can work in family law. This can work in anything because this is the common law. This is the real law. It's the same process that is due every single time. It doesn't change. We can't change this process because this is the process that is due to our fellow man. So when we pick up these tools and start using them, start effectively defending yourselves, and the maximum law here, the defendant by pleading or exception becomes the plaintiff. And that's it, fundamentally and principally. Follow due process of law. And this just goes right back to, I mean, oh man, it's so crazy to read this stuff and know this stuff, and then to look at what's really going on out there and being subjected to it. It's just mind blowing how we've gotten so far away from real law, from due process of law, and the people don't even know. Yeah, just look at it. Would you look at that? Would you just look at that? Oh, Lordy. God help us. KirksLawCorner.com. Go to the library tab. Download Treatise on Arrest and False Imprisonment, as well as Authority of Law. Mr. Wiseman here is the one that wrote both of them, and they go hand in hand. Charles Wiseman. The two fundamentally best books for any beginner out there, even if you think you're advanced. These two books will just rock your socks. And it's full of case law, which they love. They love their case law. Right? The heck? I would go back and find the one, couple of these that I just love these, because one of them happens to be Idaho. Actually, yeah, wise man, right? All right. Let's see. How about that? False imprisonment at common law and elsewhere consists in the unlawful detention of the person of another for any length of time whereby he is deprived of his personal liberty. Where two people are traveling in a car and stopped by police, notice it's traveling in a car, not a motor vehicle and driving. Proper diction. You have to unlearn these words, or not necessarily unlearn them, but we have to expand our vocabulary. Right? Should call him Mr. Wise Man. But here's the thing. Here it is in writing. Traveling, car, personal liberty. Personal liberty is the right to the power of locomotion. Choo choo, vroom vroom. Okay? We have that right. So the right is actually personal liberty, not the right to travel. Traveling is the action. Exercising the right is personal liberty. So, and the party not driving is put in the police car and told to wait. The officer doing so is guilty of false imprisonment because he has no lawful authority to touch that man. Now, notice he didn't say the passenger. Passenger is a commercial term. Passenger is the one that pays the man to be a driver, to operate a motor vehicle out on the streets and highways. Now that's exercising the right to travel, to pay somebody to transport you as a passenger. So you got to watch what words you use. That's diction, jurisdiction. The words that we use put us into what body of law? So when you say, well, hey, I'm just exercising my right of personal liberty here, under what lawful authority do you have to deprive me of my liberty here, right now? They're screwed because they can't answer the question. And if you know that, you keep your mouth shut, you don't answer any questions, they might just walk away and leave you alone. You might run into a couple jerkwads out there. But if you got this with you and you've been reading this and you kind of know some of the proper words to use, and you start citing this crap, they're going to leave you alone because they don't want to get a summons and a complaint against them, do they? This is how we're going to change our society at a local level. We need to start fighting back at a local level. Where's the Idaho one? Where are you? I know it's right here. I think it's Griffin versus, yeah, there it is. Griffin versus Clark. Number 8. Let's check this out. Imprisonment is any restraint of the personal liberty of another and prevention of his movements from place to place or his free action according to his own pleasure and will. It is false imprisonment when this is done without lawful authority, which is why I asked them, under what lawful authority do you have to deprive me of my liberty right here, right now? And I need you to articulate that right now, like I did down at the Capitol, as they shoot everybody else out of the Capitol except me, because I knew my rights. And I knew they couldn't touch me, and no lawful authority to deprive me of my liberty at my Capitol, especially while they're being the public servant. Servants do not dictate to their masters what our rights are and how we claim and exercise those rights. For those of you who didn't catch that video, it's out there on YouTube. It's on Facebook as well. August 24th on Facebook and YouTube. It took me a little while to get it over there and uploaded, but it's there. Now, there's another one here. Oh, yeah, right underneath it here. False imprisonment is the unlawful and total restraint of the liberty of the person. The imprisonment is false in the sense of being unlawful. The right violated by this tort is freedom of locomotion. It belongs historically to the class of rights known as simple or primary rights. How about fundamental? The theory of law is that one interferes with the freedom of locomotion of another at his own peril. That's right. But if you do not know how to effectively defend yourself, you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to continue to be the victim. You're going to be stuck in the victim stance. So somebody help me. Somebody help me. Fundamentally and principally, whose duty is it to educate yourself? And if you can sit here and honestly answer that question, and I mean truthfully, honestly answer that question, which is you. You're the only one that's responsible for your own education. I just happen to be a kind enough man to sit here for hours on end for over 4.5 years plus the year and a half on Blog Talk Radio, trying to teach you folks because I'm tired of seeing my fellow man getting screwed. I'm tired of hearing the cries of my fellow men and women who are tired of the tyranny. And I can't help every single one of you on an individual basis. The best I can do is help people in my local area when I'm around and if they come and ask me for help. Otherwise, I'm out there kicking ass myself. And they know I'm coming for them. Think about it, folks. Why haven't they messed with me in several years? And you think I got two cases going on right now for not wearing a mask for shits and giggles? Now, I claimed and exercised the right, and I let them do what they did because they're the men with the guns, right? Now I have a right to a cause of action. There's always a method behind my madness. I know a lot of people don't get it, but in the end, I think people are going to see why I did what I did because I had the right to do that. And you want to mess with me? Well, I'll follow due process of law because I know the process. And that's what's coming here for Idaho. Take this all down. Yeah. Don't try to fight the men with the guns. We're supposed to be a civilized society, right? Obviously things are changing. Thank God. So hang on. Start reading, start learning how to effectively defend yourself. The Bible talks about our tongue being sharper than a double-edged sword, right? So when we speak the law, that's the truth. And evil cannot stand in the light. So when we speak the law, like what I just read from right there. You start speaking that stuff like I do, you guys have seen, some of you have, some of you have seen those videos. Did they put their hands on me? 3 of them tried to mess with me at the Capitol and kick me out of the Capitol like they did everybody else. Why didn't that happen to me? Why did that one sergeant kept yelling back there, except him or not him? The second one, hey, I said leave him alone, not him. Ooh. They all take off and still end up with one lackey officer there and the Capitol security guard tried to stop me from going up and down through the Capitol. And that ended real quick with the question, which one of you is claiming the lawful authority to deprive me of my liberty right here, right now? It's like parting the Red Sea. Oh, not me. Not me. They both took steps back and parted the Red Sea, and away I walked. Because I have that knowledge and I spoke the law. I asked what lawful authority. I asked the question. I didn't yell at him. I didn't scream at him. You can't do that. I asked for their lawful authority. And they knew damn well they didn't have any authority over me, and not in the general area of the Capitol that's supposed to be open 24/7, which, by the way, I did find that in the Idaho Code. That's why they call it the Visitor Center, and the blue sign out front points over there. Those doors are to remain unlocked 24/7, 365 days a year. There are certain portions, even according to the Idaho Code, which is not law, but there are certain portions, and it itemizes, oh, well, the main level here, and even up over here, and well, this part over here can be closed, but this has got to remain open. It's got to remain open all the time. So I hope that gentleman that I spoke to the last time I was down there is prepared to make sure that my Capitol, as a public servant, is ensuring that he's doing his job under his emoluments of his office and ensuring that my Capitol is open for the people to enter. And it's up to us, right? It's up to us to do this. But this is, again, reading means reading. We have to read this stuff. They're not going to teach us this crap. They purposely dumbed down our society so they can get away with this crap. You know, again, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over and over and over again because it's from the Bible. My people shall perish for a lack of knowledge. This is what what God's talking about. If you don't have this knowledge, what your rights are, where they come from, and how to effectively claim, exercise, and defend them, you're screwed. You're at the will of the schoolyard bully. Because that's all they are. And actually, it's not even really that. They're a bunch of order followers. And they've been led to believe, just like the rest of us, a lot of people out there, not me, have been led to believe that this is true. This is just the way our society is. That's just the law. But it's not. And they're preying on our ignorance. They've been working on it for a long time. Easily over 100 years. That they've been working on dumbing us down, dumbing our society down, not teaching us the truth. Okay? Hosea 4:6, I believe that is it. Isn't it? So I don't want to really, I guess, I don't know. Well, there's something in the works to get the school opened up. It's going to take a little bit. Got some work to do. But my team and I met Sunday. We had a good meeting. And we're moving forward with what we need to get done to get a school open. And possibly a second one right behind it. One in Idaho and one in California. So I'm a little excited inside. Yes, Paula, this is the common law. So for all English speaking nations and countries, not the English common law. This is the American common law, although it does have its roots in the English common law. But a lot of this goes clear back to 1215 with the Magna Carta, 1166 with the Aziz of Clarendon, the right to a trial by jury. That's what Aziz is, jury. And yeah, if you actually read the Articles of Confederation, Canada is part of America, the nation called America. Canada's the country. Idaho is a country. Washington is a country. Montana is a country. You know, this blows my mind. And state is just a state of being, the body politic, not the territorial landmass known as Idaho, the country, the territory of Idaho. So let's just do this. There's some crazy stuff, right? Oh, let me see something. Let me see. What we got? Oh, there we go. Let's do this one. We'll use this over here. Now, see those little things there? Kind of different parts of the continent, right? Isn't Mexico a country? Isn't Guatemala, Nicaragua, Venezuela? Aren't these all? I mean, this is South America, right? Pardon me, South Africa. This is South America over here. Algeria, isn't that a country? Well, aren't these countries? Morocco. I mean, there's Spain, there's Portugal, there's France. Aren't those countries? Or are those states? How about Italy? Is Italy a country? Huh. Is Ireland a country? Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Germany, Poland, Ukraine? Why are these all over here not countries? Well, we call them states. No, these are the states that have united to form that union of states of being. Russia, Mongolia, South Korea, Japan. I mean, we call Japan a country, right? Look how small Japan is. I mean, California is probably bigger than Japan. I mean, aside from all that up there, but the mainland here, look at Alaska. Look how big Alaska is. I just recently heard that it's 3 times the size of Texas, and Texas is pretty much, I believe Texas is the largest mainland. So Texas is the largest country in the United States of America. Vietnam, don't we? Philippines, don't we call them countries? Malaysia, India, Nepal, even China is called a country, ain't it? Right? It's even in the law of nations as them being nation states and countries because it's our state of being free and equal and grateful to Almighty God and all those fancy things that our state of being free and equal is about. Liberty of conscience, which is the right of religion, which is liberty of conscience. Again, re-education, right? Knowledge is power. So I do kind of want to put a little thanks out there for a couple of you folks that have brought us together to help get the school going, as well as the rest of my team and the behind the scenes people team. I want to thank you for all your time and effort and everything that you've done, as well as everybody out here right now. I want to thank everybody for watching, learning. Thank you for your love, your kindness, your prayers, your support. That is support, right? Love, care, nurturing. That's support. Oh man. Yeah. We're not a democracy. We're a republic. In fact, we're a capitalist Confederate republic. So, if you'd like to help support the channels here and uh, give some of that love, kindness, prayer over to the office at 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite C, Boise, Idaho 83704. Is it 04 or is it 05? Keep getting mixed up. Anyways, uh, you can send those donations here through the snail mail. And yeah. So, hope everybody has a wonderful evening. And again, kirkslawcorner.com. Go into the library there and download that treatise on arrest and false imprisonment. Highly recommend that you watch the educational series that are out there for free. And of course, you want to get in on Patreon, patreon.com/Kirk's Law Corner. Those that are on Patreon and that are able to make it, Wednesday night workshop now. We're having some good old times in there, some good discussions, and it's good stuff. Again, talking about stuff that we can't necessarily talk about out here. We'll get banned. Hopefully that'll come back around. So with that, folks, much love to everybody out there. And I hope to see you around. Tell your friends, share, like, follow, share. If you're not a subscriber over here on YouTube, make sure you get subscribed and go over there to the bell and make sure you get notified for when we do go live. Okay. Other than that, hope everybody has a wonderful night. We'll see you back either Friday night, fun night, or if you're on Patreon, we'll see you Wednesday night workshop. All right. Good night, everybody. Much love.